Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Got an interesting request here, so and I gotta keep it a little bit anonymous. But Zach writes, please do a response to this Sandman video. He provides me the link here. And someone had requested Sandman do a video on the saddest person Sandman has ever known. And I listened to it, and I tuned into some of Sandman's videos. They're pretty good. Check them out. You just search Sandman on YouTube. And interestingly enough, it is not the Metallica song that comes up first. It's Sandman's videos. And he was talking about a guy whose wife is 300 pounds, doubled her weight since she got married, is a hoarder, his blood pressure, I mean, it's just horrible, and the guy doesn't have the balls to say no. And so Zach asks, who is the saddest person from your private life? Who is the saddest person from your video clientele? And I had to sit and really think about that, because I've had some really there's definitely bad. It's not the worst situation, because that person made the best of it. And it's actually an inspiring story where a person in the worst situation possible came out of it. But where the person is sad, that actually, there's no one person, but rather a group of people. So when I talk about that, don't think it's you. It's a group of people, actually. But let's talk about the saddest person I know from my private life. This is an old man now that I knew many years ago, and I still know to this day, who let pussy ruin his life. And I'm not being cliche. I'm not pandering to the red pill crowd. I'm just telling you what it is. This is the saddest person I know in my private life. With this guy had everything. Everything. And he had to have that pussy, and not love pussy or wife pussy. He had to have new and young pussy. And instead of, and it's just so tragic, because there were so many aspects of this guy that was alpha. This guy was an athlete. He could kick my ass. He could kick any guy's. This guy was ripped at one time. He is off the wall chart genius. Made $200,000 a year 20 years ago. I mean, but when it came to a woman, yes dear, not an ounce of alpha in him. And I'm not going to identify how I knew, but there were times where I'm like, holy shit, you can't tell people to shut up. You can't lead. He wouldn't lead. He wouldn't say no. He was a pushover. Despite all these other alpha-like traits, he would let people run over him. Anybody, not just women, but anybody, his wife. So he got married. Well, he was married to a single mom, of course, who brought a kid along, of course. And then she divorced him. Then he went and got a mail-order bride. And it was quite some time ago. And, everyone's like, and this is back in the day where, I think internet dating had just started, and it was like you could just shop through it. It's like, well, don't you want to just fly over there and get some tail? No, he had to marry the girl. He had to have a hot young wife, so he married this mail-order bride. And she didn't tell him that she had a kid, and this, I won't lie to you guys, it formulated my opinion about mail-order brides, that in general it's a bad idea. 20 years ago it was kind of like, well, it kind of makes sense, and hell yeah, gee, well, didn't it? And watching this guy just constantly get sacked as the quarterback by mail-order bride after mail-order bride after mail-order bride. And this is all from the Russian, Ukraine, former Soviet bloc era. It convinced me that that's a scam. And that you gotta be really careful. Now, of course, he did it a dumb way. He literally just went on an online catalog, picked one. We're emailing back and forth all the time. Oh, I went to visit her. And just how this brilliant man, what was it? I think it was Stefan Molyneux was talking about how when you're around a girl that you're attracted to, your IQ drops by a full standard deviation. Like you go down a full 15 points. This guy must have dropped by like half because he did not pick up on, I mean, oh, I need more money. I'm having visa troubles. These guys would show up and say, hey, you want to talk? No, you got to pay to get past. And I mean, he's just shelling out the fucking money. It's like, dude, this is a fucking scam. Finally gets her here the day she gets her green card. She serves him with divorce papers, and he ends up with her kid. She went off with another guy. She had been cheating on him this entire time, but she ran off with another guy. And so you think he'd learn his lesson now, and he didn't. He went and did it again. And this, it almost was like a broken record, rinse, repeat. Except this time I don't think this one brought another kid. But Russian gal, cheated on him the day she got her green card. What do you do now? You got a third, and then by this time it's not that I didn't stop talking because I didn't like him. I like him. I like him. He's a nice guy. I like him very much. He's a good friend. But I kind of stopped paying attention because obviously this person is not going to stop. And today he's an old man. He has, I don't even want to imagine what the alimony is. He is a true cuck raising other guys' children with his labor. And all he did was give a bunch of whores American citizenship. And he's if he's not on his fourth, he's on his fifth. And he's not on his fifth, he's on his sixth. Because he just had to have that. So it was beyond even pussy. He was like, no, I need to have a hot young wife. It's like, dude, even now I'm kind of like, aside from the sex, why would you want to be married to a 20? I mean, oh my God. You know, Hitler style, one in the mouth, one in here. Ugh. It's just, fuck that shit. And now all that hard work and everything, it's over. It's over. He was a slave. He was a dupe. All that hard work, working in a hard field and studying his ass off and building homes and this and that. He's a slave. He is a financial slave, and he got enslaved because of the pussy. That is the saddest person from my private life. The saddest person from my clientele, it's a stereotype because there's been so many. And it is your incel, not even beta, but gamma men, who are always looking for the easy way out to a problem they don't have the work ethic to solve. This was probably the genesis of the lazy thing that I do, because I found that pretty much all problems in the world are caused by laziness. And when you get these, just watch my video, How Do I Get the Girls? I mean, that's another one that kind of triggered it. You see that it's always these lazy men, these losers who don't want to work out, they don't want to do the hard shit, they don't want to lift weights, and they don't want to get, and they're also cowards. They're deathly afraid of rejection. They're weaklings. They're cowards. They don't want to go, they will not tolerate rejection because they can't suffer the pain. We are talking the laziest, weakest men in the world. And yet there's their biology driving them to go and get girls. And they'll do anything as long as it doesn't take effort or work. So what they'll do is they'll squirm. That's why I call them the squirmers. What's the formula? I need a formula. We're not talking like some 14-year-old dope kid. We're talking like 34-year-old adult males. Well, what do I do? How do I get that? And it's not just the women. See, now that's common. Women are an enigma. Like, there's a strategy. So you can see there's some academic debate. There's some academic merit as to speculate how to get girls. But after a while, you definitely got to say, look, you hit the gym, you hit the weights, you bust your ass off, and you get your ass shot down. That's all it is. You got to develop a charming personality, be an interesting person on top of it. But it also parlays then into other aspects of your life. And this is where the saddest person or people that stereotype forms, because they're lazy in all respects. They live at home. Why? Because they're lazy. They don't want to work. I'm living at home. I live with my grandma, I live with my mom, I live with my uncle. I was like, you're fucking 34. Some of them are 40. Moving back at home. How do I move out? Well, you get a job and you work. How do I get laid? Well, you gotta lose. I have a lot of these people. I say, you're not. Whoa. Aside from prostitution, you don't even bother with girls. I mean, that's, if you want an indication as to who it is, I say, you're not even bothering with girls. You're not even ready for that shit right now. You are not going to get, because you're going to insult them, you're going to waste their time, and at least I like to spare them the pain of dealing with your ass a little bit. They're not getting real education. They're not working. They can't hold down a job. Even me with my mouth, I was able to hold down a job that I never had to collect a government check or go bang into my parents for money. Your basement, I know it's stereotypical, but your basement dwelling virgin towels, your incels, they're fat, they're bearded, and it's almost laughable when they ask me, what do I do? How do I turn my life around? It's like, are you willing to stop being lazy? Are you willing to put in work? No? Well, then enjoy the rest of your life, because the last half of your life will be like the first half. And that's a group. That's a group of people, and the reason they're so sad is they are wasting their lives. They're wasting their lives. And what I think is even sadder than that, and what angers me while you see, is they know it. It's like fat chicks complaining about fat acceptance and how men are shallow. Fuck you, you hypocrite. On top of being lazy, you're a hypocrite on top of it. Because you know exactly what has to be done. You just keep coming to me, and as Rich Cooper and Rollo Tomasi said, they want the cheat codes of life. They want God mode, which doesn't exist. And it's almost like, and you can see it because their laziness, their fear, their patheticness is their own slave man. They're a slave unto themselves. They're a slave to their laziness, and they're a prisoner. They will never leave that world because their fear of work and toil condemns them to a life of sadness and pathetic. It's like social justice warriors or leftists in general. They are so afraid of work, they will never amount to anything aside from, like professors, teachers, activists. We're going to go protest and complain. Their entire lives is what I call white collar panhandling. Get government grant for this. Oh, give me the hand oil. I'm going to save the world. I mean, there is nothing more pathetic than a burnt out baby boomer hippie activist. I mean, have you seen them? It's like, hey, grandpa, it's not 1968 anymore. I mean, that's the path of life these people are going to be going down. Except it's even worse than that. They're living at home, and at least some of those hippie guys got laid in the 60s. But those are the saddest people where it's like, oh, how do I do it? Like, this is the last vestige. It's almost like a drug, like, give me the final hit of heroin that will turn my life around. It's like, no, dude, you're a lazy fuck. You're a coward. You're so afraid of pain and discomfort. You've had such it's their parents that spoil them rotten, giving them every advantage, never challenging them. It's like the guy who never lifted weights in his life, and now I want to lift. I want to bench press 300 pounds. We'll go work out. Whoa, can you just give me a drug? But how do I lift? Fuck, never mind. And so those you just look at, and they're sad because they're not going to turn it around. They're not going to change their life. Forget whether they believe in the politics or the ideology or the philosophy of this channel of independence and individualism and conservatism and libertarianism and freedom and capitalism and hard work and excellence. That's just them mouthing. It's just mouthing off. It's just them talking. They're never going to achieve that. Never. And again, it's the saddest thing because they will have wasted their lives. They may as well not have even been born. Which, if you read my latest article, which you should, it's called, Do Humans Have Any Value in an AI World? Really read that. And then think about how many people do you know? It's on Captain Capitalism on blogspot.com. Read that fucking article. And then ask yourself, how many people do you know like that? Like, if everything was made for us by the machines, how many people would have really no reason to be alive? Because they wouldn't do anything. Because it's hard. It takes effort to be an interesting human. So that's, and and again, it's not any one person, but it's a group of people, you know, and it's kind of, you know, how do I get the girls? What should I do for a business? It's like you're asking me that because you're a lazy fuck and you're never going to get the girls. Because you have people who are going to be successful, who are willing to get the girls or start a business would not ask those questions. They would go online, find, oh yeah, this is how we're going to have to work on it. And they'd accept that as fact. And I just wish people, you know, there's a couple people I envy where they can they're perfectly happy not trying. Like they've thrown in the towel. I would say they're more celibate. They're more monastic. They've given up. They don't ask how to get the girls. They're like, no, I don't want to get the girls. I mean, true old school MGTOWs. I call them going ghost. Where it's like, nope, I'm out. And they just read their books and play their video games and they're perfectly happy. Because they're not trying. The ones I find sad and pathetic are the ones who keep yearning and have their entire lives dictated by things they're not going to have simply because they're not willing to work for them and they want it for free. And that is how they go and they want all this stuff and they ruin their lives pining for shit they don't have the work ethic to get or earn, I guess is a better way to say it. And I'm like, okay, I'll take you $35 and I'll repeat myself again. And you gotta get out of the gym and get at the military STEM. My formula is not that complicated for those people. But it's impossible to get over their addiction to laziness, or one would say their fear of labor, toil, effort, and pain. And since they're crippled, they're paralyzed by fear of the real world, they'll never join it. They'll never be part of it. And they will die. They will die truly unmentionable, truly unnoteworthy. Most humans do that anyway. But there's not even going to be, I mean, their funerals, I believe there's an element of truth to, like, you know, the value of a man is how many people show up at his funeral. It's a pretty good metric. And no one even going to know they're dead. He's going to be one of those people that die and no one knew, you know, the neighbors smelled the decomposing body 5 days later. That's what it will be. Hopefully when I die, you know, some of you assholes might show up. So there you go. All right. Questions, comments, links all down below. Including Asshole Consulting. I have my book here. Curse of the High IQ, now available in Spanish. It's La Maldición de la Intelligence. Sponsored by Pepe Le Pew. All right, see you guys later. Toodles.